You ever had a Tootsie Roll Pop? You know, those lollipops that were advertised with that jerk of an owl? Well, imagine you're licking that lollipop. It's grape flavored. You get towards the end expecting an explosion of grape flavors. It's satisfying. But then you get to the chocolate, and suddenly you have a final challenge before getting to that stick. And I'm sure that's being taken out of context, so let's get right into today's topic. Final bosses are legendary. You get videos all about them through the tube of you, but that's not the topic of this video, to an extent. Today is all about the fake final bosses. Those battles that make you feel like this is the true final test, but simply aren't. Sometimes this is pulled off beautifully, and others are done so wrong they may as well be a modern Disney villain. To be a fake final boss, you have to build it up as the end of your journey where everything is on the line. Even if there's more game to come, your mind tricks you into thinking you've met your greatest match. And of course, the boss is fun to fight, but I feel like that's a given to be on a video. Much like every Pokemon game needs every Pokemon in it. It's a joke, but it still works. That being said, this entire video is littered with spoilers, so I'll post the title of the game and a time to skip it during the sequence card. Instead of counting down, we'll just list off 10 great fake final bosses, so hopefully you understand the point of this video's existence. Alright, time to enter massive spoiler territory, let's go! Let's start off with a choice I'm sure my friends are sick of me bringing up, Persona 5 and Masayoshi Shido. I'm sure others are bringing up another obvious choice in the Persona series, and even Strikers has this trope as well. But here's how much I care, and let's get to the entry. Throughout the game, Cheetah was shown as the man behind everything. He got you arrested, he corrupted Japan's government, he uses the metaverse to his advantage, the big boss himself. And when you reach his palace, realizing everything he has done, you're pumped and ready for the inevitable showdown to stop his scheme. The fight is broken up into two phases, both showcasing the power he possesses. The first phase focuses on his power over the masses of Japan, symbolizing them as disposable followers, how they'll attack anyone who disapproves of Shido and even protect him from any criticism. The second phase has him fight the team directly, showcasing the power he has thanks to his plan, and how it seems impossible for anyone to take him down. Royal takes this a step further with the final showdown between you and Shido to close your personal arc of redemption against the man who ruined your life. And of course, I have to mention the song backing this fight up, Rivers in the Desert. Before this, you never heard Rivers in the game, but it perfectly shows that against all odds, no matter how grim your situation looks, you can stand against them and overcome the trials ahead. And at least that's how I see the song. Hopefully that helps my friend understand why this song is so good! This fight is just fantastic, and it should showcase what a great final boss can be. The battle is fun, it pays off almost everything you've been building up to, it looks and sounds amazing, and it's the perfect opener for our topic. Not bad for a fusion of Hawk Moth from Miraculous and Senator Armstrong. Oh god. Keep that away from fan Christians, please. On the flip side, let's go over an example of a fake final boss that does its job enough, but not stellar. Sia from Hyrule Warriors. She's built up as this main threat, messing with timelines to complete her fanfiction with loving Link. Go, come on! Ugh. With everything now set against her, she pulls all the stops to ensure her victory could still be attained. When pushed to her limit, she stands alone in a showdown to determine her fate. Since it's a Musou game, the fight itself isn't complex, just beat her when you can and avoid her stylish attacks. But this is the first time you actually fight her, and she comes with her own exclusive boss theme, unlike the others. It also closes her arc of accepting a love that can never be, since she'll never be able to romance Link due to her role as a guardian of time. To see her go through everything she did to make her love a reality, it's almost heartbreaking to see it all for naught. You know, if you actually fell for that in the first place. Sadly, it's not unconvincing to be the final showdown, since Ganondorf is already back and we all know he's saved up for the finale. Still, it's a good fight story-wise and a decent boss to fight against in-game. Now I'm just wondering if Sia and Lana will be DLC characters in Age of Calamity. It could happen. From one screen to two, let's talk about Kid Icarus Uprising and how much I want Nintendo to port this game to the Switch. Please! Anyway, Medusa. Medusa was built up as the main threat. Each of the 8 chapters before were used to build up the final clash against the returning Gorgon. Reach chapter 9, one of the longest chapters of the game, and everything feels just right. A boss rush takes place. The battle is built up between the characters, and then the fight occurs. Taking place in the sky, you shoot Medusa while avoiding her attacks. Deal enough damage, and her true form returns, as you deal the final blow, and you save the day. And then your credits get ripped up. The fight is really simple, but fun, even introducing a new boss theme to feel like the final clash of the game. It may even trick you unless you catch a specific conversation in the level itself. It's a good fight and does a pretty good job tricking you. But we all know what happens afterwards, and we're thankful the game continues from where it should have concluded. RPGs tend to pull off the fake final bosses trope more than other genres. With how much emphasis the story usually has, it can get away with it unless you're used to certain tropes like a god being the final boss. This time, we dive into the indie hit Undertale with the king of monsters himself, Asgore. Throughout the game, you're told in order to return home, you must confront the king, and everyone has different accounts on who he is. He's a murderer, a loyal friend, a fierce warrior, a gardener. Okay. And as you meet him, he knows he has to fight you to free his citizens, and yet he doesn't want to. Left with no choice, he prevents you from mercy, and a fight to the death begins. Look at his sprite. That alone tells you it's all or nothing. Combined with unique background and great music, and you have what should be a great final battle. But alas, the flower takes over, and unless you forgot about him or peeked at him following you throughout the game, you would believe Asgore was the final challenge. Add a fun and decent fight, dodging flames and trident swipes, and you have an encounter worthy of a king. Which is fitting because I really like Asgore's character. For as little you see of him, the build-up actually helps him out this time. Technically, every account of him is correct. He did kill a lot of children, but he's a loyal friend to the monsters and a worthy warrior to defend them. But he still has the ex-wife, so... yeah, good luck with that. Never was I happier with a recommended game than with Ni no Kuni: Wrath of the White Witch. A tale of a boy traveling to another world to hopefully save his mom and stop the evil wizard Shadar. At least that's what your hero believes, but behind the scenes, the titular White Witch is plotting to take over the world. So that kinda ruins the fake final boss surprise. But man, I don't care, this is still a great fight. Your hero Oliver believes he'll save the world defeating Shadar. You almost believe it right alongside him. With his very life on the line, don't ask, Oliver and party face off in a 3-phase fight in the depths of the Dark Djinn's castle. Phase 1 acts like your first bout with Shadar, except this time you can actually beat him. He'll teleport using spells to strike you down, mainly ice spells. A pretty decent fight. Then enters Phase 2, where he summons his own Pokemon, familiar, the Eternal Knight. He'll focus on offensive moves like sword swipes, but use light magic and he'll fall soon enough. It all leads up to the gigantic final clash, quite literally, as Shadar will use area attacks and a laser beam all giant bosses have for some reason. Beat the Djinn, and you finally end the clash, and continue the story. as hard as it is. The emotion, the stakes, the gorgeous visuals, the new boss themes to drive a final battle home. This is a great fight. Perhaps a little on the easy side depending on what you bring to the table, but still one of the most memorable bosses from the game. Now they get to the sequel at some point. Or prequel. Yeah. Remember when Smash Ultimate showed the World of Light trailer and everyone died to a giant orb of light with wings? Good times. Real talk though, the inevitable fight against Galeem is one of the better Smash Bros. Bosses. It may be a spear and...
Check it out! It's got wings!
But it can pull off hurtful moves, including moves covering the entire screen, so shielding and dodging are essential if you don't want to be knocked off. But what puts this boss here is the build-up. Galeem took nearly everyone down, and you know Kirby won't go without a fight. So you traverse the vast map, regaining your fighting team, clearing battles, and slowly breaking Galeem's shield. It's the biggest and longest map of the mode, making all the more certain Galeem is your true threat. But defeat it, and a new enemy joins the battle, Darkon. Yeah, there was a little hint there was in Act 1, but still, it caught players off guard, and, in my opinion, eventually led to the best boss in Smash history against both deities. Galeem was just a tutorial. After was when the game finally began. Or was that Monster Hunter? I'm not so sure. Crash Bandicoot is known for having a true final clash, but most of the time it was clearing everything and just defeat the final boss again. But come Crash 4, the other one, and we get a true fake final boss, the Entropies. Built up as the main threat in the latter half of the game, the Entropies of both dimensions team up to off the marsupial once and for all. And maybe enjoy some comfy time together, but let's not think that far. Too late! Too late! After testing your grinding skills with the Phase Mask, you race to the station using the Spin Mask and Time Mask, ending in a chase with the Gravity Mask. Yes, I know they have names, but I'm too busy listening to the amazing boss theme. They have a choir for a Crash boss theme. A Crash boss theme with a choir backing it up. Oh, it's so good! The battle also serves as a fantastic test for your use of the masks, but sadly that's all the fight really is. Don't get me wrong, it's still a great time, but only 2 hits makes the boss itself sort of short. Maybe some extra hits and use of other characters could have made this great boss an excellent boss, but it's nitpicking at this point. More effort will be placed in a mobile game anyway. But at least it won't have the meme. Now for a series close to my heart. Kingdom Hearts. The series is known for amazing bosses, but big final bosses? Not so much. Kingdom Hearts 1 had Maleficent, but we knew there was more ahead. 358 Days Over 2 had Xion, but I gushed about her fight in my top Kingdom Hearts bosses list. So let's discuss a boss I've yet to talk about. Sora's Heartless from Recoded. The digital manifestation of when Sora became a Heartless, it glitched Jiminy's journal and using dark data, plans to escape to the real world to corrupt the world in darkness. Yep, this is Kingdom Hearts alright, so before we get confused, let's get to the actual fight. The fight is split into 5 phases. Yes, 5. Phase 1 is with a revamped dark side, with element abilities on each hand, chest beams, and crashing through the floor. Then, a form change goes into Phase 2, where Shadow Sora uses Keyblade projectiles and Keyblade swipes. So get into the yellow circle and hit him to turn him into a shadow for easier damage. Phases 3 and 4 bring multiple clones to the fight. Same strategy, just needing to deal with the other clones in the process and a really cool all-out attack. It leads to the 5th and final phase, where Mickey handles Darkseid and you take out the shadow to end the fight for good. It's a good fight, not the best of the game, but a pretty good fake final boss. Yeah, it comes out of nowhere, and the keyblade you get at the end ruins the fake mood, but it's still a fun fight, even using the final boss theme from Kingdom Hearts 1 to signify its importance. Too bad the real final boss was a letdown. Oh, I'm sure I'll get to that soon enough. Asuras Wrath. The name alone sends shivers down the spines of those who played it, or even bear witness to it. A gorgeous spectacle and some of the most adrenaline-pumping action you'll ever get in a game. We enter the finale, where Vlitra, the manifested dark will of the world, has awoken, and two deities stand against it for the fate of their world. Pushing through the front lines, you attack Vlitra's tentacles and eventually the face of Vlitra to force open a pathway to the core of the world itself. Now faced against a monstrosity resembling Asura's rage form, the two deities clash against it, dodging its powerful swipes and energy attacks, leading to the final QTE section to end the world's suffering for good. Oh, but not your wallet's suffering. What I summarized is best seen for yourself. The impactful music, the mind-blowing visuals, the bookend to a great story. Vlitra was built up for the entire game, and seeing the battle against it is awe-inspiring. There are a few hints that Vlitra isn't the final foe. Just look at the final arena. But man, if it doesn't leave you exhausted afterwards. Do yourself a favor and watch this game in action. And for the love of Deus, please remaster or remake this game, Capcom. Your fans will appreciate you even more. Man, I've been begging developers a lot lately. Okay, so before we get to the boss responsible for the video idea, here are a few quick looks at other candidates and the games they come from. Landia, from Kirby Return to Dreamland. A good boss that may trick you into thinking it's the final foe, until you remember Kirby usually has 8 worlds. Edelgard, from Fire Emblem Three Houses. What's seen as the true threat until the round's final boss, unless you're the Blue Lions. An impactful fight to the bitter end, unless you're Edelgard, then all the more satisfying for you. Congratulations. Egil and Yaldabaoth, from Xenoblade Chronicles. A great fight with everything that makes a fake final boss grand, but it never got this far in the game, so only brief mention. I'll fix that soon, all in due time. Security, from FNAF World. A giant robot owl not from Sly Cooper. I just wanted to mention it since I enjoyed FNAF World. When will that game get a console release, Scott? Huh? And finally, Homura from Senran Kagura Burst Renewal. A good supercharged rival fight built up for most of the game. When you get past the fan service, you're in for a pleasant time. But you're probably still thinking of fan service, so let's wrap this video up. The fight that inspired this video, Jenna was shown to be the apparent antagonist of Astral Chain. Battles some giant monsters, and Kyle, and you eventually meet Jenna for the final showdown. She drinks her purple stuff and mutates, beginning the fight. As you bash sense into her, she retreats to find what she sees as the true threat, clashing with you once again. After another loss, she can no longer maintain her form and mutates further into a gigantic beast, with you being the only person who can stop her. Reach her, beat the enemies along the way, and take out her arms to deal the final blow and end Jaina's cryptic rampage. No, seriously, why the hell are you so cryptic? You could have saved the world if you actually trusted. Whatever. In Platinum fashion, the fight is another spectacle. You know what I'm gonna say, but even if I repeated it again, it would still hold true. It's just that, well, great. Yeah, the true antagonists didn't hide their intentions that well, but even then, you got an amazing boss fight out of it. Probably one of my favorite parts of Astral Chain besides the final boss. Jenna is just another example of a fake final boss. And now I hope you understand the purpose of this video. I might have missed some more examples, so please let me know if you have any fake final bosses yourself. Until then, I'm off to scout for more myself, potentially for a follow-up video should I find more. See you guys later, stay safe, take care, and happy boss hunting. Well, I'm not kidding. If I find any more examples of fake final bosses, I'll be more than happy to make another video. But that probably won't be for quite some time. Still though, if you like this video, and you want to see more, well, you know what to do. Until then everybody, please stay safe out there, and I'll catch you next time for more content. Take care.